Hi everybody, it's Thomas here from Thomas Fitzgerald Photography and welcome to another episode of Street Photo Diary. So it is a beautiful winter's morning here in Dublin City. I'm here in the lovely Dublin Castle. One of the things I love about Ireland is this time of the year you get absolutely beautiful light, and it's great for all types of photography, but street photography in particular, because what you can do is you can actually use the light as the subject, which is what I'm going to be doing today. So the way I approach this shooting when I'm looking for light is, what I'm kind of looking for is kind of pockets of light. We'll find a nice background, or it doesn't even have to be that good. Sometimes the light itself will work as the subject. So it's the last days of October here. It's actually October 30th, and the official start of winter in Ireland is November the 1st, but it's bloody cold this morning. So the camera I'm using today is the Fuji X-Pro2, which is one of my regular street photography cameras, as you can see here. I'm using the 18 to 55mm lens, and as I get asked this question every single time, that thing you see on the top is actually a GoPro, and that's how I show you the point of view of the camera as I'm shooting.
Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise. And now there's something in the air and a sparkly shimmer on our skin, restoring everything within. Oh, dreamy, breezy we go, easy, easy on our tiptoes, undercover agents of the other, beyond gravel, beyond all. Hand in hand, building castles out of sand, reaching for the grand. As willows align, we lose track of time. Head up high, now we climb. Dreamy, breezy we go, easy, easy on our tiptoes, undercover agents of the other, beyond gravel, beyond all. A bigger scale the world inhales as we go. I wouldn't want it any other way, no. Dreamy, breezy we go, easy, easy on our tiptoes, undercover agents of the other, beyond gravel, beyond all. Dreamy, breezy we go, easy, easy on our tiptoes.
So as always when shooting street photography, I'm not just looking for shots of people, I'm also kind of keeping an eye out for anything interesting you see, whether that's kind of quirky subjects, interesting signs, or anything like that at all. It's always best not to limit yourself. I know I say this in almost every episode of Street Photo Diary, but particularly when you see the beautiful light we have today, basically my approach is shoot whatever you see that you think is interesting. You don't have to use it. One of the things that people often ask me is if they're kind of nervous about shooting street photography, what's the best way to go about doing it? And one of the kind of easiest places to start is if you go somewhere where there's lots of tourists. That way you'll have lots of people taking photos and nobody really pays any attention to you. So if you're kind of nervous about shooting other people or just shooting in general with people around, go where there's lots of tourists, and that way you can you blend in and nobody's really going to pay that much attention to you. And if you do that a few times, you will realize that actually most of the time when you're taking pictures, people actually don't pay any attention to you. And yeah, so that is my tip if you're having trouble kind of getting used to shooting on streets. Of course, the other thing as well is street photography doesn't have to be just about people. So again, go out, shoot interesting things. If you see something that piques your interest, like sometimes you have really interesting doorways or old lights. I have this thing for old lampposts. You see in a lot of my photography, I love kind of old, ornate and antique lampposts. And in a city like Dublin, you see lots of that. So yeah, just don't be afraid, just shoot what you feel. But if you do want to start shooting people, then a good way to start is go somewhere where there's lots of tourists. In terms of settings, what I usually do on the X-Pro2 is I put it in aperture priority mode and use auto ISO. So then I can control the depth of field using the aperture, and I use the exposure compensation wheel to basically make sure the exposure is right. So that's basically how I set my X-Pro2 up when shooting street photography. So this is actually the 10th episode of Street Photo Diary, and I find it hard to believe that I've actually managed to do 10 of these. It started off as kind of an experiment. I wasn't really serious about it, and then the series seemed to resonate with people, so I've kept doing them and I've tried to improve them every time. So thank you for watching if you've watched all of these, and I hope you've enjoyed them. Okay, so that is pretty much it for this episode of Street Photo Diary. I hope you have found this useful and entertaining, and if you have, please give it a thumbs up, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.